Hey guys, welcome back to the Laurence McKenna on LFC channel, where it's time to talk Chelsea. It's time to talk guards of honour. It's time to talk rotation, and it's time to talk rest of the season. There are obviously a lot of videos to make in that list, but let's talk about some of it in our little preview of the Chelsea game, where we will be getting the first clap out. One thing I will remind you about guard of honours, by the way, they're not mandatory. You don't have to do a guard of honour. It is just kind of a time-honoured tradition in the Premier League. And there have been times, of course, where some people haven't done it. I get the feeling that Chelsea probably will do one because, well, first of all, like, they don't really have a reason not to, apart from the fact that they're Chelsea, and, you know, Chelsea can be a little bit funny. I also think valuing other champions and valuing the overall product is probably a smart move on Chelsea's part, just considering, you know, that they need some of these players to be motivated, should we say? And at the same time, I also think for some people, and I'll do this in another video all about guard of honours, it can be a bit of a, hey, look what we could have. Look what, you know, we could be getting clapped out, guys, but instead you're in the Europa Conference League, almost in the final, and you're growing towards that. You know, that's not a dig, by the way. That's actually just, hey, you guys could be climbing the league, especially if you get striker. Anyway, not the point. There are plenty of people around Anfield who have probably been partying almost as hard as some of the Liverpool fans. Though I've got to admit, some of my friends, incredible efforts in basically just drinking yourself into a week of just absolute brilliance. Anyway, Darwin Núñez, does he start? Should he start? First of all, he should start if, for instance, he wants to stick around. But he doesn't, and we don't need him to stick around. So I don't think Darwin Núñez should start. In fact, I actually think we should be starting some of our younger players. We should be giving some of the academy guys an opportunity. We should be giving people like Diogo Jota an opportunity to possibly also say goodbye to Liverpool fans. I think we should be looking at people like Chiesa, and I think maybe, you know, obviously there's a chance that Darwin starts. He's got 4 games left in his Liverpool career, as far as I'm concerned. And I also think, I mean, you know, genuinely, on top of that, you've got this outside thing where it's like, how well can he play in this time? And does it really matter if he plays all that well in this period? Because other teams have probably already made their minds up on him anyway. It's not as if playing in these, what we can describe as junk minutes, is really going to convince a side, oh, Darwin's the one for us, or Darwin's not the one for us. We know that Liverpool want to sell him. We know that he wants to leave. And we know that we want to move on and find someone different, find a different profile. That's nothing personal. That's just the way that it works with new managers. Chiesa, I'd love to see a few more minutes from. I want to kind of give him his flowers, if you like, and anyone who's been involved in the title, I'm very appreciative of. But, you know, there is also the business side of it. I want to see Harvey Elliott play. I want to see him start in like that 10 position, or possibly even in the right wing, though I don't want to see him start in the right wing if it is at the expense of someone like Mo Salah. And frankly, I think we should be experimenting with our shape right now. I don't think that we're going to get an all-time points total. We didn't walk the league, but we did it in a really healthy time. You know, it's like finishing the marathon in a good couple of hours. And at the same time, I think there's like rules in the Premier League that you have to start a strong side, right? Or at least you're one of your strongest teams in order to kind of prove that, you know, you're making it a competitive league. I also think I don't want to go away, get a guard of honour, and then get beaten by Chelsea. I don't want to go to Anfield, get a guard of honour, and then get beaten by Arsenal. And I think Arne Slot's the same kind of mentality. There are plenty of other people out there who know Arne Slot, it didn't just come to compete, he came to win. And I think when you win and you want to be dominant, you saw it last year actually, the mentality of his was, I lost one game, we lost one game all year. And it was the one against Nottingham Forest. And he was annoyed that he didn't have that record of the 100% in 2024. He was annoyed at the players that he didn't have that 100% record in 2024. And I think that level of competition, the level of just keeping the standard high at Liverpool, not saying like we have to go out there and absolutely exhaust ourselves in every game unnecessarily, but just saying like, what is it exactly that we stand for? Are we here for standards, or are we just here to win the league and then fall off a cliff the rest of the season? I don't think that's an Arne Slot style thing to do. At the same time, we don't know which players here we're saying goodbye to, and we don't know which players are going to stick around. We don't know if it's a goodbye to Trent. There are obviously a couple of guys that we know in Virgin Salah, but we don't know if we're saying goodbye to Trent. We don't know if we're saying goodbye to Elliots. We don't know if we're saying goodbye to Jota or Diaz. Diaz looks like he'll probably sign another contract, and if he is, then fantastic, and Liverpool will have very good reasons for that. But, you know, we don't know if we are going to be saying goodbye to some of these guys this summer. The same for some of our midfield. You know, McAllister's obviously had, rumours around him. I'd expect him to stay this summer. But in the long run, these rumblings rumble on for a reason. And they become rumblings for a reason. Harvey Elliott. Will he stay? Will he go? I mean, he's spoken about he wants to stick around. But also, there are a lot of political reasons why he would say that. I think all of this goes to say it's a weird game against Chelsea. You've got players who've been smoking cigars, having beers, a couple of days off. Not exactly the best tactical preparation. And at the same time, why should it be the best tactical preparation? Chelsea really need this to finish inside the top four and probably get a massive, buoyant reaction from the fans and from the players if they do beat us. Really, this is a game that we're favourites in because we're title winners, but really Chelsea should be the favourites. They're at home, they're motivated by the guard of honour, potentially that they'll give us. They really do have way more to lose or win this season based on this result. And frankly, I would also be angry and want to beat us if I saw the champions come into town. If I saw a bunch of players walking into Chelsea and going, "Hey, we're the men around here." Will it be satisfying? It'll be amazing. It'll be awesome. It's gonna be good. Do you know what I mean? It's not the best guard of honour. We're gonna get better ones. We might not even, will we get one from Arsenal where they choose not to let us have one? Which players will and won't clap? Can you bet on that? Which players will walk out and look these guys in the eye, go down shaking hands? Will anyone do will there be an Enzo Fernandez meets McAllister's eye and a little, yeah, good, thank you. I'm a Premier League winner. Good for you, buddy. I'll be there one day. Will there be a little, hey, Moises Caicedo, you made a good decision. See ya. Will there be a little, oi, Colwell, what's good? Will there be a little, who else? Cole Palmer, little transfer in the summer, mate. You'd be, yeah, cool. You want to be here? You want to be sitting in these red kits? Boom. Because if you did join us, you would be sitting in the red kits, at least in pre-season, as a bizarre Nike deal goes. All of it, from here on out, we're basically playing an elongated pre-season. From here on out, we've basically got games to play with. We should be bringing on some of these young guys. We should be bedding in these new players. We should be doing the goodbye Trent tour, And I do think this is a bit of a goodbye Trent tour. Mainly also because, Liverpool probably will have to let go of Trent relatively quickly if he does want to go to Real Madrid, because Real Madrid will want him at the Club World Cup. Wow, there are so many planes today. That isn't the case with someone maybe it'll be the case with someone like Darwin Nunez. Maybe he'll move to someone, and maybe that does mean they want to rush things through in the summer. Maybe that is a good thing for Liverpool. I do think the Club World Cup could help us to, just offload a couple of guys. But broadly, what I'm saying is it's not going to be a competitive game in the way that we've been used to it in the past. If we still needed to win the title, sure. But we didn't. And we absolutely killed Spurs last weekend. We were so dominant against them. We looked so loose. It was so easy. It was so simple for us. Does that also shift it the other way? With less tension in the team needing to win the title, do we actually completely flip and just go, hey, look, what have we got to lose? We might as well just play free-flowing, brilliant football. Maresca is a very cagey manager at times, though, and I got to admit, I'm not a fan of the laborious side of his football, but I do think he makes beautiful shapes, and when it does work, it's free-flowing, it's brilliant. So, yeah, broadly, I've got to admit, guys, I'm kind of predicting a Chelsea win here. I know we going to want to go for a really high points total. I think we will still get a relatively high points total, but I think it's going to be one on the mid 80s. We're not going to get to we're not going to get to an all-time. We can't, first of all, but we're not going to get to an all-timer. And I've got to admit, if I knew players were going to leave, if I knew that if I knew that I had my body to take care of, those kind of things, I would also be the Liverpool staff saying, we want to rest and recuperate whilst keeping your level high as much as possible. It's not an on the beach game, but it's a definitely at the bar game where we may still be at the bar. Do you remember the Mane clip when Mane, Salah and Trent are walking out as a three and Trent's in the middle? Trent's clearly just absolutely sloshed. And Mane has to kind of pull him back to the line. I don't remember what happened in that game. But sometimes I wonder, is this the closest we'll ever get to seeing what Gaza would have done for Liverpool, or what, any of those guys back in the day who, used to drink before the games used to do? I suppose we saw it in the 90s, but, that kind of, I'm not saying Gaza now, that's not me having a go at an alcoholic, that's me talking about alcohol culture back in the day. Come on, guys. What I'm saying is, I think there are some really big teams that want the scalp of a Premier League champion. And we'll hear a bunch of adages and all those kind of things. But broadly, People just want to get the scalp of a Premier League champion. We put a cross on our backs by winning it. And I think next season it's going to be even more intense. But this season, let's just enjoy being able to go to Chelsea. And, you know, the Lucho Garcia ghost goal was actually, 20 years ago today, I think? Can we go and just win by like a little ghost goal, a little, we didn't want to concede that. Well, you did. Let me know how you're feeling. Has it been a big week for you? Has it been a big week of partying? Has it been a big week of love? Has it been a big week of worrying about the future for Liverpool? Because that is also partly what I'm doing at the moment on this channel. I appreciate you guys watching. Come find me on the channel. I'll be in the Discord. I'll be on the Patreon. I'm going to be coming up with some Guard of Honor videos. I'm going to be coming up with some rivalry videos. I'm going to be coming up with some transfer videos. They're all on the way. Sit and subscribe. And if you want to, if you're feeling in a good mood, the super chat, super thanks, it's down there. Much love, guys. See you in a little while. Bye.